What is going on a Thursday night live stream? Appreciate you guys. Of course, my name is Ramos Jr. And we're live again here on a Thursday. The winning poll. Obviously, we do a poll every weekend to discuss a certain topic in pro wrestling history, whether it's, on screen, whether it's behind the scenes. A lot of times we kind of talk about the darker side of professional wrestling. But on this week's poll, we had the winning topic of WCW's Bash at the Beach 2000 incident. Widely regarded, especially, my consideration, I believe, widely to be discussed as the reason that WCW finally went out of business. It was the final nail in the coffin of World Championship Wrestling, a ship that was already on its way sinking, but this was definitely one of those landmark events that people kind of point towards as one of the more conflicting and infamous moments in WCW. So I'm actually really happy that this was chosen as a discussion point here on this week's live stream. Something different. We talk a lot about WWE, and it has to be talked about like a WCW. Something different, a little change of pace for the topic at hand. Shout out to Tyler in the chat. I see you. Appreciate you. Welcome to the live stream. Hopefully your guys' week has treated you well. It is only a Thursday evening here, so we still have a couple of days left in the week as well. But regardless, I'm hoping that you're all doing well, that you're all safe, and you're having a good time in this week. Of course, we're going to give it a moment here, allow some more people to join the stream before we dive into the discussion. Just a little bit of a synopsis here. WCW, obviously the competitor to the WWE. The Monday Night Wars had taken place in the 90s. It was very much a competitive battle between WCW and then the WWF. But I mean, hey, we look at the way that it's been building and building up until this point in the story. And we'll talk about that more so once we get to the overview and kind of a little background describing the players at hand and where we are at in time. But regardless, I mean, dude, WCW, one of the top promotions of all time. I mean, good or bad. It definitely did a lot of good for professional wrestling. I think in terms of competition, it is always good to have multiple avenues for wrestlers, for wrestling fans, just for the business itself. You guys know this. I've talked about it extensively when it comes to AEW, TNA, and WWE. The more opportunity out there, I think, the better. I think it's just been a proven fact. When you have someone else to race with, it kind of forces you to, pick up some steam, pick up some momentum, and get better. Versus if you're just running by yourself, you kind of get lackadaisical. You kind of get complacent, and you start, resting on your laurels and maybe not doing as well as you could be. Sorry to hear that, Tyler. Hopefully, hey, there's still plenty of time left in the week. Hopefully that improves for you. Nacho Camacho, what's going on, my friend? Appreciate you stopping by here on a Thursday. Nacho Camacho says, let's do this. Ready for tonight's topic. I mean, hey, there's a lot of good options out there. So when I have to narrow it down to just 4, I try to give a little bit of parity, give a little bit of options when it comes to these topics. I might have a dark side topic, or maybe a list, maybe just a random point of discussion. Try to give a little bit of everything for everyone. So just because your pick may not have won in the week doesn't mean it's never going to win again. I mean, I always keep track of the topics at hand. I store them, and then maybe down the line we'll reintroduce them in another poll for another chance to be discussed. But like I said, for the time being, for today's topic, WCW Bash at the Beach 2000. I think the nail in the coffin for World Championship Wrestling. Without further ado, let's go and let's jump right into it. In the year 2000, WCW, like I said, was on its last legs. It had its competition with the WWE. It was a little bit of a bidding war in terms of the talent that was going to be exchanged between WCW and the WWF. Early on, WCW very much had the advantage, had the stranglehold on the Monday Night Wars. They were able to sign key players to help boost not only their roster, but the ratings as well. Over time, the tide would change, and the WWE would begin to start regaining a level of momentum. Looking at the WWE in that time period wasn't the best. Specifically in the early 90s, that new generation era falling out of the golden era was a little bit of a tough watch. And we're going to get into that in a moment here. Just want to check out the chat here real quick. I see some more people. Gabs, what's going on? Gabs says, happy Thursday, everyone. Happy Thursday to Gabs as well. One of the MVPs on the stream. Appreciate that. Tyler says, do you see that update and everything on WWE 2K25 The City? The Island, yeah. So I have seen that they're going to be doing the Island in 2K25. I'm curious to see how that's going to work. It's very similar to that in like how NBA 2K kind of has their community and how it's an open world. So I'm interested to see if that's actually going to play out well for the WWE. Something different. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how it goes. Next topic is WWE 2K25. I don't know. I don't know about that. WWE 2K25, there's still a couple of weeks along the ways, but I know with these streams, a lot of people kind of like the dark side of wrestling or the behind the scenes look. I could put that as a poll topic, and we'll see how it does. But I mean, hey, PW 101, been a minute there. What's going on, my friend? Appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by on a Thursday, talking about Bash at the Beach. PW 101, big shout out to our friend there. So the year's 2000. Obviously, like I said, this is where the event takes place, Bash at the Beach. But we're going to peel the curtain back. We're going to press rewind here. We're going to hop in the DeLorean and head a little bit to the back to the past. Not to back to the future, back to the facts. If you haven't seen the episode of The Dark Side of the Ring, I always say I can't recommend it enough. I do believe that it's one of the best series out there when it comes to pro wrestling, and the personnel that they're able to acquire for these like sit-down interviews for each episode is top-notch. Top-notch. So if you have Hulu, even on YouTube, there are some episodes that are available on YouTube. I highly suggest you check out the Bash at the Beach episode. But again, we'll talk about the players at hand. But I do want to mention that one of the opening quotes leading into the story is by Double J, Jeff Jarrett, former WCW champion, a big prominent figure in professional wrestling. Obviously, he opened up his own pro wrestling company. We'll talk about that. But Jeff Jarrett was quoted in an interview in regards to Bash at the Beach. And he was quoted as saying it was, quote, one of the biggest disasters of my career. He was also quoted saying it was the single biggest black eye in WCW history. It carried a lot of weight. It carried a lot of momentum, or lack thereof, for WCW. Like I said, the Monday Night Wars were at its peak in the 90s. It was a race to see who was going to sign to which promotion. What company could outdo their competition. Obviously, around this time, it was the New Generation era. WWE from 1992 to 1997 was going through a little bit of a between period of its boom periods. They had the 80s, the golden era, and the Attitude Era, which wasn't necessarily there yet. In the New Generation era, we saw a decline. There wasn't a lot of great superstars, available. We had some legends, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, just to name a few. But it was during this time that WCW took advantage of the demographics. WWE during this period was very much targeting towards kids, towards families, which in the terms of a business standpoint is smart. I mean, hey, the kids can't buy everything. They're going to ask their parents to pay for it. So the parents got to pay for the kids and necessarily have to pay for themselves as well. The WCW, the competition, said we're going to target that 18 to 39 demographic. We're going to try and target a mature audience, not insult their intelligence, and bring them into storylines that may be considered more mature and more realistic. Not only did they use this as a way to conquer and counter the WWE, but they also began signing a lot of their talent. Look no further than guys like Randy Savage, Lex Luger, and three integral parts of the New World Order. Of course, I'm talking about Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, who were formerly known as Razor Ramon and Diesel, and the biggest name that they could have signed being, of course, Hulk Hogan. The WWE, they needed some change. They needed to gain momentum here because a lot of times they saw WCW and they were kicking their butts in the ratings. I mean, these guys couldn't catch a break. Whether it was poor storylines, whether it was poor reception, during the Monday Night Wars, it became a struggle for the WWE. These guys couldn't catch a break, like I said. And when they ended up signing talent, maybe it didn't pan out, but the WCW, because of the New World Order story, was able to regain a lot of, momentum and interest based off of what they were doing. The WWE audience kind of started changing the channel to WCW. The Monday Night Wars has been talked about extensively between those 90s period. That's something we can even dive into on a future stream, talking about the Monday Night Wars and some of the more influential moments that came out of it, as well as how it still influences pro wrestling today. Because I do believe that the Monday Night Wars, WCW and WWE, what happened during that, 7-year span? I mean, a lot of things came out of it and it influences how the business is ran today. But we talk about the WCW and the talent acquisitions there. The WWE, as I mentioned, needed to make some change. They needed to gain some momentum. So they looked to their writers. They looked to people who maybe necessarily aren't really welcomed in the locker room. I'm talking about a legit writer. Like, he wrote for the magazine. A lot of people might know where I'm going with this story. But of course, Vince McMahon has the final say. Vince McMahon has the pen and the paper. He is ultimately the one that decides what's going to be shown on TV and what storylines we're going to be tackling. But they introduced Vince Russo, one of the most infamous and controversial figures in all of pro wrestling. I cannot understate how much his name brings up a lot of opinions, good and bad. Because it's one thing to say that Vince Russo was bad for pro wrestling. I think he actually influenced pro wrestling in a way that you can see it from both sides of the spectrum. There's a little bit of good and there's a little bit of bad. But Vince Russo was hired early on in the New Generation era / Attitude Era. And he helped implement and introduce Crash TV to pro wrestling. Now, around this time, we had shows like the Jerry Springer Show that was gaining a lot of notoriety, a lot of attention for its outlandish storylines, its mature content, and just the shock value storytelling that was being presented on TV at this time. The idea of Crash TV centered around the idea of shorter matches, a lot of vignettes, backstage segments. It was very much fast-paced TV. Vince Russo's ideology and psychology, really, was to not allow the fans opportunities to change the channel. We're going to go nonstop, full pedal to the metal, and not give these guys a chance to change the channel. We're going to go from a Stone Cold Steve Austin segment to begin with. We're going to have a hardcore match following it. We're going to have a backstage segment setting up a matchup later in the night. Just boom, 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 cramming so much content into so little time. Not giving people time to breathe, really. And Vince Russo did pretty well at that. It influenced the Attitude Era. It's what helped get stars like Stone Cold, The Rock, D-Generation X, get them over. Now, granted, these guys are legends. They would have gotten over regardless. But the Attitude Era and just the social climate of society and just the Attitude Era, it helped amplify their success. I think it was a match made in heaven when it came to the Attitude Era's mature content and that new wave of superstars. Gone were the days of Hulk Hogan and the typical baby face that told you to say your prayers and eat your vitamins. Now we had guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock who were trash talking, they were brash, they were arrogant, they weren't afraid to speak from their mind, and it wasn't really as, kid friendly as the WWE was. Vince Russo helped turn the tide for WWE because while WCW had its NWO, it had its Sting, its rise of Diamond Dallas Page and the Cruiserweight division. It had a lot of great things going for it. But Vince Russo and the company, I will say, because I don't think you should give it all to Vince Russo. I do think you have to give credit to Vince McMahon because ultimately he has that final say. They allowed themselves to climb out of the hole that was already dug in the early to mid 90s. Vince Russo had gotten to the point where he was feeling good. He was feeling good about himself, man. I mean, and why wouldn't you? I mean, you're contributing to some of the most memorable storylines, and we're talking about how Vince Russo might have gotten a bigger head, but I mean, hey, again, I can't blame him. But he talks to Vince and he says, I want a raise. I think I should be compensated for the amount of work that I'm putting in and also the success of the company. So I'm never going to be one to tell someone, hey, don't get your bag. No, absolutely. If you have the ability and if you have the opportunity, get your bag. Get paid. Absolutely. So I can't fault Vince Russo for that as well. Shout out to Gabster. I see Gab says, I watched the Dark Side episode to prepare for tonight's live. I learned to hate this guy. Dude, I always say, give people the benefit of the doubt. But Vince Russo, the more you listen to him, he does kind of become a little bit more detestable. I again, I dive into a little bit more here, but Vince Russo, I think, is one of those instances where he is an unreliable narrator. The stories he tells, sometimes they don't add up. And I've always believed that people will show you who they really are. And the way he talks and the way he expresses himself, there's something off about him. Yeah, there's something that rubs me the wrong way. I will give him his credit for helping the Attitude Era. But in WWE, everything goes through Vince. Vince McMahon, I should say. For every crazy idea that Vince Russo might have had, it funneled through McMahon. He had the final say. That's why when Vince Russo is asking for this promotion, he's asking for this raise, rather, his reasoning was because he wanted to be able to move his family. He's very big into family. Not going to fault the guy. I'm very big into family as well. And McMahon proceeds to tell him in a comment that Russo hasn't let go, that you're making so much money, why not hire a nanny? And Vince Russo took it personal. He talks about in the episode how you don't tell a man, especially an Italian man who's a family man, to hire a nanny to watch his kids. He took it personal. So ultimately, Vince Russo leaves the WWE. It's October 1999. In this time period, Stone Cold Steve Austin's already on top. The Rock is already on top. Mankind is killing it. Undertaker, Kane, DX, like we are on full throttle in the WWF. He leaves in October 99. He goes to the WCW where there's already kind of a power struggle per se. Vince Russo's the writer. Eric Bischoff's pretty much in charge of creative and has like a big prominent role in the television aspect of World Championship Wrestling. And of course, Hulk Hogan, who was the golden boy of WCW. Let alone, fun fact, and Gabs must know this because Gabs watched the episode, Hulk Hogan, in his contract, had creative control. He ultimately could decide the direction of his character. If they came to him one night, hey Hulkster, we're going to have you drop the belt to Diamond Dallas Page, he could obviously go ahead and say, you know what, that doesn't work for me, brother. And they would veto that and have him go over, and DDP won't have a championship because Hulk Hogan, for some reason, they decided, let's give him creative freedom for his character. And yeah, maybe it's for creative insurance for the Hulkster, but at the same time, you're now affecting negatively other people's opportunities. Indirectly or directly, whatever you want to call it. But nonetheless, Hulk Hogan is affecting other people's paychecks. He's affecting other people's stock when it comes to the audience's perception. So in those early 3 months, because Russo comes in October of 99, in those 3 months, Russo claims that the ratings go up. He's saying that we're doing great business. Other people would actually disagree. Eric Bischoff and Brad Siegel, some people, who are part of the board, a part of the, Turner team, they say, like, no, we weren't doing good. But according to Vince Russo, they're doing great. And in those 3 months, others dispute that it was leading to the darkest side of WCW. And when we talk about one of the worst years in professional wrestling, a lot of people point towards WCW in 2000. The lack of consistency, the lack of quality in pro wrestling, and just the outlandish storylines that might have been explored during that period. It was in that spring of 2000 that management basically threw a Hail Mary. Eric Bischoff was a big part of the creative and the television aspect of WCW. He's gone for a minute. Then we bring in Vince Russo. Vince Russo for those 3 months, kind of shaky. So the management decided, let's pair Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo together. Now, we talk about Eric Bischoff, who is another major player when it comes to the Bash at the Beach incident. Eric Bischoff, who is currently, as it stands, a WWE Hall of Famer, a big proponent of the Monday Night Wars. He worked for Turner for years and finally getting the opportunity to decide, hey, we're going to go ahead and go live head-to-head with Monday Night Raw. Eric Bischoff, for me, is one of the more influential minds of professional wrestling. He was a big aspect of the television product, maybe not necessarily wrestling psychology, but his ideas to present pro wrestling in a certain way revolutionized the business. I've always said the big three for me: McMahon, Heyman, Bischoff. I don't think the current climate of pro wrestling is what it is without these three individuals. I think they're very important to the current state of pro wrestling. Eric Bischoff, or Easy E, as some people would refer to him, was an on-screen character. He played heel. He was a part of the villainous NWO group, very close with Hulk Hogan, good friends still to this day. So they decide to pair these up together. And again, it's one of the more dark times of pro wrestling for WCW, the lack of creative, the lack of quality in their pro wrestling. We talked about it. And they're talking about now how they're looking towards the future. There was that episode of Nitro, WCW Nitro, where they are basically they're rebooking everything. Every championship is vacant. They're starting over. It's a rebrand. And behind the scenes, they hold a meeting between the board, between creative, between Eric, Vince Russo. And Vince Russo is looking for ideas. He says, who do you guys think should be the world champion? And it's basically unanimous that everyone is saying Booker T. Booker T, WWE Hall of Famer, one of the best pro wrestlers to come out of WCW, and genuinely, universally, I should say, a well-liked individual. Not a lot of people have bad things to say about Booker T. So they go around and they're saying Booker T should be the champion. He's earned that right. He's a great worker. He's a great guy. He would represent the company in a positive light. So the plan here at Bash at the Beach 2000, this is it. We're going to pull the trigger. Some people are saying we're going to give Booker the title. But there's one thing. Hulk Hogan has creative control. So this is when the story gets set in motion. First, we're going to discuss Eric Bischoff's side of the story. Eric Bischoff talks about Bash at the Beach. This is July 9th. The year is 2000. We're coming from Daytona Beach, Florida. Hogan and Jeff Jarrett are going to be fighting for the WCW Championship. Jeff Jarrett, let's talk about him for a second here before we keep moving. So Jeff Jarrett, WCW champion at this time, another WWE Hall of Famer. He's also one of the co-founders of Total Nonstop Action and a current wrestler on AEW. He's one of those wrestlers that has been around, a legend into the business, and I think for the most part has kind of flown under the radar when it comes to his legacy in pro wrestling. I do think that his influence with WCW and TNA carries weight, but to be fair, I'm not sure I met anybody that would say Jeff Jarrett is their favorite wrestler. That's not a shot. That's not a dig. I just have never encountered anyone, whether it's in person or online. I've never seen it. So with Jeff Jarrett, he's the current reigning WCW champion, a company guy. He's going to do his job. Not going to take it personal. At the end of the day, it's his job. So the idea is we're going to have him versus Hulk Hogan for the WCW championship. This is the plan that was supposed to happen according to Eric Bischoff. So Hogan has his creative control. He can decide, hey, that doesn't work for me, brother. He can decide that. In kayfabe, meaning on TV, in storyline, Hulk Hogan is going to use his creative control. He is not going to lose to Jeff Jarrett. He's going to win the WCW championship. He was going to execute this creative control. Again, this is on TV. This is on TV. He's going to execute creative control. That already is kind of muddling the waters here, because now you're playing a dangerous game, blurring the lines. Some people may say that's confusing. Some people might say that's a little bit of contriving storytelling, but that's not for me to decide. It was already controversial as it is. They were going to blur the lines, and Hogan was going to win the championship on this night, July 9th, 2000, Bash at the Beach. He was going to walk out as champion. He was then going to have to vacate the title because he would have walked away, and after not defending it for a certain period of time, they were going to have to remove the championship from Hulk Hogan, and they were going to hold a tournament. They were going to hold a tournament to crown the new WCW World Champion. Keep in mind, this is in July. So, down the road, this tournament would culminate in a tournament final at Halloween Havoc. Obviously, it's in October. Halloween Havoc, that's a few months away. They were going to have this final, and whoever would have won the championship, they don't discuss who would have been the champion, but whoever wins this tournament, Hulk Hogan would make his big return with his WCW championship and claim to be the real champion, setting up a title versus title, undisputed championship matchup between the two. That was the original idea. That was going to be the plan. Ultimately, that wasn't what happened, because in WCW, and in the year 2000 no less, it became a whole issue. So we move to the match itself. Vince Russo has it out for Hogan. He says, why does he have creative control? He shouldn't have that influence in the company. So Vince Russo goes to his buddy, Jeff Jarrett, and he tells him he's not going to want to lose the belt. He's not going to want to lose the match. That's fine. We're going to give it to him. He instructs Jeff Jarrett that when the bell rings, lie down on your back and let him pin you. Put Hulk Hogan over. This is not in the plan. The plan is for Hogan to win the championship, yes, but now we're just making a mockery of this entire ordeal. Jeff Jarrett says there's no logic. No one looks good. He says, quote, everyone loses. Because now you're making a mockery of the world championship. This is your main title. This is what the men, the stars, are fighting for. And that's how we're going to be doing this. They already did the finger poke of doom that happened in January of 99. Now, if you don't remember that, that was an episode of WCW Nitro where Hulk Hogan is going to fight Kevin Nash for the WCW championship. Kevin Nash is the champion, pulls up to Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan gives him a little poke in the chest, and Kevin Nash sells it like it's a gunshot wound, and Hulk Hogan goes over as champion. Naturally, creative control. So now you're doing something similar here. Jeff Jarrett, again, is a company guy. He's going to listen to his orders, going to listen to his boss, whatever you need, whatever. You're paying me to do it. Fine. But he doesn't agree with it. Vince Russo and Hulk Hogan, their pettiness between each other led to this moment. Jeff Jarrett lays down for Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, obviously hesitant, asking what's going on. Vince Russo has the world championship with him. Runs around ringside, has the title, holds it up to Hulk Hogan, and is saying, you want the championship? Pin Jarrett. And then he ultimately throws it at the feet of Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan obviously pins him. I mean, you got to save face, right? You can't just let the match go on like that. We got to go home. So Hulk Hogan pins Jeff Jarrett. Hulk Hogan is the new world champion. Jeff Jarrett, upon getting the 3 count, immediately just pops up, heads to the back, and ignores Hulk Hogan, because Hulk Hogan's obviously questioning it. He's asking Jeff what's going on. Confused, even. Jeff Jarrett just goes straight to the back. Hulk Hogan leaves for the night. He leaves with the championship. He leaves with Eric Bischoff. There's no point of him being there, because in story, he's going to be gone for a little bit until Halloween Havoc. So he's leaving for the night. And of course, Eazy-E, Eric Bischoff, his good friend, he's going to accompany him out. You know, they get in the limousine. They call it a night. Hopefully not too much of a night. But they move on. Except that wasn't the end of the story. That wasn't the end of the story. What's going on, Colin? Thank you for joining the stream. I'm doing well. How you doing, my friend? We're talking about WCW Bash at the Beach 2000. Hopefully you had a good weekend. As we're talking about WCW. Something different on the stream. That wouldn't be the end of the night. We knew that with players like Vince Russo and Hulk Hogan, there was a little bit left over. Following this matchup, Hulk Hogan is already the world champion. He's already pinned Jeff Jarrett. Following this, Vince Russo returns to the ring. He's back in the ring. And he comes out to essentially talk about what happened, address the issues at hand. And Vince Russo says, I have it here. Vince Russo cuts a promo on Hulk Hogan, running him down. I mean, a full-on burial, essentially. He calls him a politician because of the way he tries to dictate his storylines and throws his weight around in terms of how he's gonna go over and win these feuds. He says, quote, "You'll never see that POS, make of that what you will, you'll never see him in this ring again." He publicly fires Hulk Hogan. He publicly fires Hulk Hogan on pay-per-view to not even his knowledge. At this point in time, Hulk Hogan and Eazy-E, they're in the limo. They're maxing and relaxing. They're moving on with the night. They don't find out till a little later that Vince Russo's in the ring and cutting this promo. So he's saying, Vince Russo, even quoted saying, that belt don't mean ish. He says it doesn't mean anything because of the way Hulk Hogan was portraying himself. Now, I mean, hey, was that the right thing to do? Probably not. Because again, you're playing a dangerous game here. You're playing a dangerous game when you're walking, not even walking, while you're tight-roping the fine line of blurring reality in kayfabe. In this promo, he runs down Hogan. He ignores the title win, basically saying he's not a champion. And he announces Jeff Jarrett and Booker T as the main event of Bash at the Beach. This match just happened, the Hogan versus Jarrett matchup. And now the main event is Booker T and Jeff Jarrett for the world champion. He puts over Booker T huge. Says that he's earned this title match. He's worked for 14 years, but doesn't have anything to show for it because of guys like Hulk Hogan, who wouldn't allow him the opportunity to succeed. And afterwards, all this, Vince Russo, the narcissist that he is, the egomaniac, if you will, he's reading all about his praise. He's talking about how, like, oh, everyone was so happy. They were excited that I talked about Hogan that way. And I stood up to Hogan. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? You're systematically breaking down the walls of the business here. Like, I don't know. And that's why it's so controversial. That's why it's infamous. Because it's like, yeah, we like the shock value. We like that you can't predict certain aspects of pro wrestling. But at what cost? Because it's like, you're now airing your grievances, your pettiness, your childish pettiness on pay-per-view. People are paying their hard-earned money for this nonsense. Like, get it together. Get it together, man. Especially because this is Turner Network. This is the same, company, business that has run TNT and TBS, one of the biggest television providers in cable history. And this is the nonsense that we're showing. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. The aftermath of this, Eric Bischoff, he denies it because apparently Vince Russo says, we discussed it. We discussed this. And Eric's denying it, like, that wasn't the plan. That wasn't the plan. So literally everything that Vince Russo is saying contradicts itself. No one's agreeing with Vince. He's the outlier. Eric denies it. Hulk Hogan sues. There's a lawsuit involved. He claims that he's the real champ. Obviously playing up to kayfabe. Shout out to Muhammad in the chat. I see you, Muhammad. Calling as well. I'll get to those chats in a moment here. He claims he's the champ, and he's suing for defamation because of the way Vince Russo spoke about him. Aw. I don't care, dude. Hulk Hogan, he sues him, and then it's also a breach of contract because he fired him publicly. He wasn't a fan of that, which, I mean, hey, to be fair, that might be rooms for litigation. Obviously, everyone has a contract. They have to abide by these contracts. So I get it. I get it. That part I get, where it's a breach of contract. Defamation, I mean, I guess. I suppose. I'll never forget what Hulk Hogan said, though, upon winning the WCW championship, following the Jeff Jarrett pin. He says, quote, "That's why this company is in the damn shape it's in. Because of BS like this." Except he didn't say BS. He went ahead and it was pay-per-view. You can get away with it. But I like to think this is a family show, so I try not to say it. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And cute just jumping the gun there. I love it. They already know. Because that was the next point. In the chat here, Cute Kanji says, yeah, the lawsuit was dismissed and Hogan was shown to have lied in court or at least contradicted himself. I mean, it's per nature. That's going to happen. It's Hogan. We've had literally a stream and a full clip dedicated to the lies that Hulk Hogan has said and the contradictory statements that he's made. But it was also said that they based the lawsuit was groundless because there was still that discussion of, is it still storyline? It's just pro wrestling. It's not real grounds for legal action. So on top of that, because it was dismissed because of Hogan's, perjury or contradictory comments, but again, the authorities, the lawyers, whatever, they looked at it as groundless. It's pro wrestling. We can't take this too serious because of the blurring of the lines. What happened at Bash at the Beach 2000 really chalks up to just the pettiness between Hulk Hogan and between Vince Russo. But ultimately, ended up pretty well for one individual. If there's any positivity to come out of this event, this incident, is that even though Jeff Jarrett walked in as the WCW champion, and then ultimately Hulk Hogan would become the WCW champion, neither one of them would actually walk out with the belt itself. See, rather, the innocent bystander, the one that really didn't have a dog in the fight, the one that really didn't have a beef with either one, was Booker T. He would win the WCW championship, his first world title of his career. Booker T, a WWE Hall of Famer, one of the all-time best. As we lead to the back end of the story, Booker T ended up becoming a 6-time champion, Hall of Famer, universally praised as one of the best of his generation. I think he's one of the best wrestlers of his time. I think he's one of the best wrestlers of all time, really, because of his comedic chops, because of his athleticism, his dedication to the craft. And now he's a commentator on NXT. You can catch him every Tuesday night on the CW network. And again, universally praised. Who doesn't love Booker T? Now, at the end of the day, we look at the fallout of what had happened. One of the key players that we talked about, the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan, he ultimately would never be seen again in WCW. That part was not a lie. Vince Russo said, "You're never going to see that POS here again." Where's the lie? Because he didn't. We never did see Hulk Hogan. He was gone. He wouldn't return to wrestling until February of 2002, upon returning with the New World Order, obviously in the lead up to WrestleMania 18. And then later down the road, he and Eric Bischoff, which funny enough, Eric Bischoff would then join the WWE in 2002, becoming one of their general managers and on Monday Night Raw, one of my favorite authority figures on TV. Then during his time off from WWE, Bischoff and Hogan would go to TNA, Total Nonstop Action, in 2010. They ran it like it was WCW. That time didn't last too long. They moved off of them. WCW was purchased by the WWE in 2001, March 2001, on the lead up to WrestleMania 17, earning the contracts of many of their wrestlers, their library, the likeness, all their IP, the intellectual property. And then we would see stars, like I said, the NWO, Scott Steiner, Diamond Dallas Page, Sting, even many years later, they would join the WWE as well. As for Jeff Jarrett, who was the one that had taken the pin against Hogan, he helped found TNA, Total Nonstop Action, opening up another opportunity for other wrestlers and wrestling fans to enjoy the business that we all have loved. He would end up going into the Hall of Fame in the WWE, and then now he's a part of the All Elite Wrestling roster. As for Vince Russo, there was a time being he joined TNA as well. Didn't last too long, as it shouldn't, because that man cannot keep a steady and consistent job in wrestling because of his reputation and because of the product that he placed. He continues to be criticized to this day. He has a podcast. I don't listen to it, but every now and then clips do come out, and Vince Russo is one of those guys who just won't give it up. At least he's consistent. If you know me, you know I'm more of a Jim Cornette guy, and I love the Jim Cornette versus Vince Russo feud. And I genuinely believe that when it's all said and done, Jim Cornette might be the biggest hater of all time. And not even a negative aspect. He does not like Vince Russo. He does not like what he's done for the business or what he's taken away from the business. But that's Bash at the Beach 2000. July 9th, 2000, Daytona Beach, Florida. The final nail in WCW and what led to their ultimate demise. Vince Russo proves to be, again, just petty. Dude, literally every story that comes out with Vince Russo and the stories that he's written or the stories that he's told on these documentaries, it ultimately comes down to pettiness. And it's like you're running, he's not running, but he's a part of a billion-dollar corporation like the WWE or WCW. There's got to be some managed control. There's got to be some sort of commander, like a chain of command, rather, that would keep him in check. And people thought that he was going to do great things for WCW because of what he did with WWE. But the one thing WCW didn't have, like the WWE, is that chain of command to tell Vince Russo no. Because either in WCW, they gave him free reign to do whatever, and that led to their demise. At least in WWE, Vince McMahon isn't the perfect, writer, but at least he has some limits. Most of the time, I should say. We're going to open up the chat here. I see a lot of activity in the chat. I'm going to get back to you guys. I'll see you guys right here. I see Colin had dropped some knowledge here in the chat. Give me one moment here. But that's WCW for you. I mean, the stories that came out of WCW, a lot of controversy, a lot of hoopla that came out of it as well. So in the chat here, I see Colin mentions the... Oh, okay, you're talking about the anime then. Yeah, because we were talking about that in a previous stream, I do recall, where you discussed... I managed to find... Managed to find one professional wrestling anime since we discussed it a few streams ago. It's called Tiger Mask and it has a sequel as well as... Tiger Mask. Yeah, I mean, that would make sense because of the whole Tiger Mask gimmick itself. I'll be seeing if I can track those down and give them a watch. That'd be interesting. Also says, I've always loved Booker T. He seems like a nice dude. He really does. Very rare do we see a guy like Booker T have any controversy or any scandals or anything like that. Just a consistently good dude. I would like to think that we don't have to worry about Booker T and in that regard, Muhammad says, good night on a Thursday night. Hope you are doing well. Always appreciate you. Thank you so much. It is wonderful to see you and to find people because it's going to be awesome. Please take your time. That was in regards to me talking about the chat. Colin says, honestly, I wish Booker T did audiobooks. I think he'd be a killer at that because of his voice. Honestly, yeah. Booker T, for me, was an acquired taste for commentary. During that period, like his early run, like in 2012 to 2013, he didn't find his groove. I don't think he found his footing in it. But after a while, he really grew on me. And this last run in WCW, NXT, of course with Vic Joseph, who I'm a big fan of. I love Vic Joseph. I think he's great. He's found his footing. He's found his character work. I mean, he's already a great character. But I think he's awesome. I think he's awesome. Audiobook, Does he even have a book? I'm not even aware. Because I would love to actually read something about Booker T. If you don't know about his struggles early on, obviously him and Stevie Ray, brothers, they came into the business, but he did have a criminal past. You know, he served some time. But to overcome that and join pro wrestling with his brother Stevie Ray and to grow into the competitor that he was and that he still is, I mean, Booker T's an awesome legend. Just realized I skipped over Q Kanji's chat here. Russo was using Hogan to get himself over the top and get his name out there as, remember, he was just an unknown. This is just facts. He was an unknown writer not long before this time period, and Hogan just couldn't take the loss of control. It really was just a combination. It was a bad combination. It was a ticking time bomb. It was a Molotov cocktail when you add these two together. These guys, man, it was just not going to work. Between Eric Bischoff, I would like to think has a level head. I would like to think he has a level head. But, hold on. Gaz is saying the sound. Is the sound off? I just want to make sure I'm checking it here. Give me a thumbs in the chat if you guys can hear it. Thumbs in the chat as if it's better. Just making sure. I'm going to start just speaking here, making sure you guys can catch it. I'm just making sure. I'm seeing a little issues here still. Yeah, because I have my audio here too, and I'm just making sure. Making sure. It's looking like the connection's poor. So I'm refreshing the system here in hopes that...
Spot unsafe sites.
Yeah, because I have my audio here too, and I'm just making sure. Just making sure. Thumbs in the chat. If you give me a thumbs in the chat, that way it lets me know that you guys can hear it. Making sure. Because I have it on my... I have my phone on here. I'm playing it back, so I just want to make sure it's playing back for you guys. I have it on my... I have my phone on here. I'm playing it back, so I just want to make sure it's playing back for you guys. I'm hoping it's working for you guys. On my phone, it's playing back. I'm hoping it's working for you guys. On my phone, I say thumbs by Colin. It's playing back. I say thumbs by Colin. I'm gonna think we're okay because I'm hearing it just fine at this point. And I saw Colin gave the thumbs up, or thumbs really. I'm gonna think we're okay because I'm hearing it just fine at this point. And I saw Colin gave the thumbs up. Okay, Gab says that something's off here. I'm seeing more. Kukanji and Muhammad are saying thumbs up as well. But for Gabs, it appears to be skipping. But for Gabs, it appears to be skipping. Any difference? Any difference from Gabs? Because I'm seeing everybody else saying it's okay. I try to reconnect my microphone and see maybe if that did anything to it. Any difference from Gabs? Because I'm seeing everybody else saying it's okay. I try to reconnect my microphone and see maybe if that did anything to it. Yeah, I'm good now. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was weird. We never had that issue, and the connection kept saying good to great, and then there was a second there where it was poor. So weird. But we're back. Okay, I got a little bit of room to come back here. Colin says he wouldn't necessarily need his own book. I just mean in general because his voice is perfect for reading stories in general. I mean, I suppose I see that, but I mean, I would very much like to read his book too, like if he had one. We talked about that. Kevin, what's going on? Sorry about the delay there, Kevin. I saw you, buddy, but we were working on the microphone. It was weird, but we're back. We're freezing up here. Thumbs up on a PC. How was your dinner for you? If so, what did you eat? I kind of skipped out on dinner, Mohammed. I see Gabs is saying Jimmy John's. Respect. I kind of skipped out on dinner. I had like a late lunch / early dinner. I just made myself a simple, like a chicken sandwich, a spicy chicken sandwich that I made at the house. I wasn't really craving anything. I got off of work I was technically off at 2 at work, but then I had to stay a little bit longer for my shift. I didn't want to, but it is what it is. So I didn't end up getting off until like 3. Got home and immediately went to the air fryer and made a spicy sandwich. So that was awesome. We got that. I see Gabs use the CM Punk emoji. I love that. That's my favorite one. The CM Punk thumbs or finger gun emoji is my favorite one. Muhammad says it's working just fine now. Awesome. Love to hear it. Took us a second. I hate when there's technical difficulties, especially live. That's just so annoying for me because I want to make sure you guys are having the best experience as possible that I can provide. And speaking of experiences, it is a new month. It is February. And because our friends here at YouTube are ever so gracious, our overlords here with the red button, the red play button, they give us the opportunity to gift out some memberships. We did so last month. We had a lot of people join in. And so we're going to go ahead and give out a little bit of gifted memberships now. And hopefully we'll see. Sanford and 5, what's going on? Who's that jumping out the sky? Appreciate you, Sanford and 5. Muhammad says, speaking of chicken, do you know that I don't eat chicken anymore? Didn't know that, Muhammad. Didn't know. Hey, I respect it. You know, that's your choice. I respect it. But I'm not going to stop. Sorry. Let's go ahead and give some memberships here. I love this opportunity to give memberships because it gives people an opportunity to not only see the exclusive content that's on this channel, but also I wanted to make an announcement. On Sunday, I'm going to be having another stream. Or not Sunday. Maybe Saturday. Or I could do Sunday. We'll do it Sunday. I was going to say because I do work Sunday. I work late, but not that late. So there will be a live on Sunday. And that one we're going to have is a members exclusive. People are still going to be able to watch, but you'll only be able to participate in the chat with the emojis if you're a member. It'll still be open to the public, but members will have that opportunity to partake in the chat. That'll be on Sunday. But I did promise. Muhammad says I'm a vegetarian. Right on. Right on. We're going to gift 5 memberships here on the channel. And it's at random. I don't choose. Here we go. PW101. Yeah. There you go. And we got the sound going. That's awesome. You see right there, Jose Ramos gifted 5 memberships. Thanks for the community gift. Shout out to PW101, one of our newest members of the J area, has a gifted membership. Salvi, 85, one of our OGs that has been here consistently, man. That's awesome. Meet Wad, which is an awesome username. Backwood Johnny as well. Welcome to the J area. 1, 2, 3, 4. I count 4. Or is that just me? I see PW101, Salvi, Meet Watt, Backwooded Johnny. When it should have did 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. But regardless, we welcome him. A little bit of a delay, but we got him. Sanford 5 Mountain Dew likes you too. Okay. Sanford 5 says, my bad, y'all just got to work and got home right now. Yeah, but you drink Mountain Dew a lot, dude. You know your limitations, buddy. But I mean, hey, maybe that's just me being overprotective, but you got to get some more water in there, buddy. I'm just saying. So yeah, like I said, keep in mind on Sunday we're gonna have another stream. Sanford 5. I like Mountain Dew like Jim Cornette likes his Sprite. Dude, remember that one shoot interview where T Vega says water does your body good? Damn right it does. Damn right. I tried flavor water. I can't do it. I can't do flavored water. I don't know. I'd rather just get juice or something else with taste. But if I'm going to drink water, I'm just going to drink the natural stuff. Sanford 5 talked about Jim Cornette. Do you remember that one shoot interview where it was like right before he was going to hit a rant and he just stopped, paused, and got like a 2 liter of Sprite and like was downing it? No cup. Just full 2 liter. That was funny. Mountain Dew versus Sprite at WrestleMania 41. Imagine. Don't worry, guys. I do drink water, especially at work. This is true. I was only teasing. He does know how to balance it, thankfully. Because it's a lot of caffeine, dude. But he knows how to balance it. At least now you do. Before? I don't know. But now he does. I will say that. How's everyone doing? I'm hoping everybody's having a great night. It's a Thursday. We got Friday, Saturday, Sunday ahead of us. A fun weekend, I think. Obviously, NXT Vengeance Day will be taking place on Saturday. I'll be checking that out. If you haven't seen my predictions video for the matches that are currently scheduled, please do so. Check that out. Let me know who you guys think are going to win the respective matches. Also, the NBA All-Star Weekend. I'm a big fan of basketball, so you know I'm going to be catching that. The Celebrity Game, the Saturday competitions, and I'm going to have to watch the All-Star Game itself on replay because I work, so I'm going to record that, but we'll get to that as well. Sanford 5, that interview is me when someone is trying to put down the Niners. Literally. Literally. I drink white tea. Really? I've never had white tea. The only tea I've had is like the lemon tea or like any variation of like a hot tea, but I've never had white tea. Before I would drink it often like a Stone Cold with his beard. Yep. H2O, and yes, hydration is important. That it is. That it is. Water is very important. Never in my life had I had white tea. Me neither. Gabs, white tea, never heard of it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What is I didn't know. I was like, hey, I've never heard of it. I've never had it. But I mean, hey, you learn something new, right? I've never had white tea. I don't really drink much. I'm drinking milk, water, juice. Not really much of a soda guy. Is water wet? Is water wet? Because water's water. And if you put more water on water, I don't think it makes it wet. It's just water. Is water wet? It is also called tea that is white. So please. Cute says it's even less processed green tea. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. I've never had it. I've never had it. What are the health benefits when it comes to it? Yeah, because if green tea is more processed, I'm thinking that white tea is much more natural, and I guess there's less additives to it, maybe. So it's maybe just a more pure. Come on, Jose, you know everything is water wet. I don't know. Okay, but it depends on where you fall with it, right? Because some people say water's not wet because it's water. What I say might be different than what someone else says. I used to be of the mindset because I was very much a contrarian and I like to get under people's skin about it. Where I'm like, if I dump more water on water, that water becomes wet, but it becomes absorbed. So I don't think water's wet. I don't know. Is there more doors or more wheels in the world? That's an interesting question. Is there more doors than wheels in the world? Well, a car is gonna have four wheels, and it's going to have four doors, but there are some two-door cars. There's buildings, like hotels, with a bunch of doors. But are we accounting for the wheels on like those little carts, the delivery carts? I want to say doors? Maybe there's more doors than wheels? Even on a plane, there's a door to get in, but then there's wheels to come off, for the landing. I would think doors. Same as green tea, just with even more antioxidants and paler in color. Okay. By any chance, do you guys see Triple H and Shane McMahon and Linda McMahon's hearing? Yeah. Yeah, I did happen to see that. People were making comments like Hunter does not want to be there. And then apparently during that hearing, there was like a heckler who I couldn't make out what she said, but during Linda McMahon's, speech, she yelled out something in the middle of it. I don't know what she said, but someone was heckling during it. But what about wheels in a machine? Oh. Fair. Fair. I'm trying white tea next. I'll give you an update during the next live. I'm intrigued now. Please do. Please do. What about wheels that are on a sliding doors? Are there wait, are there wheels on sliding doors? Cause like, for example, like on our backyard, or the back door I should say, it's like a sliding door. Is there a wheel? I thought it was just like maybe. I mean, hey, I'm not by any means an expert in building a door. I still want to believe there's more doors. I'd say there's more wheels than doors. I'm curious if I look it up, if it gives me an answer. Are there more doors than mirrors? Than mirrors? Why did I say mirrors? Than wheels. So apparently, it says based on most estimations, there are likely more doors than wheels in the world, primarily because there are significantly more buildings with multiple doors compared to vehicles with wheels, even when considering large vehicles with many wheels. I don't know. It says building versus vehicle ratio, door per building count, and then someone says no definitive answer. I don't know. Jose, I got wheels on my sliding doors. Oh, okay, you meant those sliding doors. I'm thinking like the ones in the backyard. Gab says we went from wrestling to wheels. I love it here. Never a dull moment. Sanford 5 says there's wheels on your chair. Yeah. But I still think there's more doors. But even in the tea, we're back to tea. I love it. But even in the tea world, there's a difference between the tea bag tea and real loose leaf tea straight from China. I used to know a Chinese tea house owner, so I learned a lot about tea. That's fascinating. That's cap. There's wheels everywhere. There are wheels everywhere. I'm not saying there's not. Or a steering wheel too. Team wheels. I'm not saying there's not. There's wheels everywhere. I just think there's more doors. It's not even a fact of like there's no wheels. There are a lot of wheels. I just think there's more doors. Think about it. Like for every door, there's like a back door, or like a double door, or like little doors to like other places. Like a cab. Does a cabinet count as a door, or is that just a cabinet? Because I mean, if a cabinet counts as a door, that's another like, whoa, a lot more. I don't know if they're taking that into consideration. I'm just saying. I just feel like there's more. Again, I'm not saying you're wrong in saying that there are a lot of wheels. Because best believe there's a lot of wheels. But I think there's more doors. Chinese tea makes me But I hear it's like the best one, no? Like it's good for you? At least that's what I've heard. Think about the amount of cupboard doors and closet doors, etc. There are too. That's what I'm saying. Tony with the I still can't get over Tony's comment. Um, that's what I'm saying. Wheels to turn off valves, bikes and motorcycles. I still think that, dude. I'm telling you, if we are counting cupboard and closet doors, like they said, I think it's an automatic W. Tony says maybe I'm just having the wrong tea. Hey, for some people, you might be having the right tea. You know? Wheels are there to move. Without it, it can't move. Yeah. That's what a wheel does. Oh, San Fran 5 says, I like herbal tea, but want to try green tea. I've had green tea, and I can't say I'm a huge fan. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, not for me. I've always liked, like... Sorry, I was just looking at my parlay. It didn't hit. Damn. Didn't win the parlay. But it's okay. We have a chance to still win another one. It's still active. Tony says, I say there's more wheels. Bold. I don't know. I'm curious now. What about Lego wheels? What about Lego doors? I can go both ways. That could go both ways. Gabs is right. We went off the rails. We went from Bash at the Beach to T, and now to doors versus wheels. But I mean, hey, I wouldn't have it any other way with you guys. That's why we're throwing up a poll here. I'm very curious to see what the majority of people are going to say. Right now, it's a tight race. We've had only 3 votes in, with 2-1 in favor of doors. Is there any point to it? No, there isn't. But I want to see something. Lego doors you have to build. It's still there? Is it not still there? You're going to tell me you're not going to build a door anymore? Mass-produced green tea from tea bags is horrible. Proper green tea should not taste bitter. Well, then that's good to know then. Because the one I have kind of tastes bitter. So I'm having the mass-produced one. There you go. 50-50 on the wheels versus doors debate is wild. I never thought in my time here on the live stream, because it's very pro wrestling centered, I never would have imagined that we would have a poll that says, what is there more of? Wheels or doors? Muhammad says, is there a band called 2 Door Down? Imagine. 3 Doors Down. There's literally the Jim Morrison band, The Doors. No way. We're at 10 votes. And 6 of them have gone to wheels. Come on, guys. 64% have gone to wheels. I'm thinking it's doors. There are so many. Think about it. For a car, multiple doors. And then, okay, we're talking about like the trunk, not necessarily like the trunk of a car, but let's say like an SUV where it pops up and it elevates. Could that be considered a door? What about spare tires? I mean, that counts. That does count. But I look at it like hotels. How many hotels? How many huge buildings are there? Think about a stadium. There's a stadium in almost every city. A stadium has multiple doors. Or semi-trucks with multiple wheels. That's fine. But I'm saying, like, dude, for like a semi who has several wheels, like 18-wheelers, there's hotels out there with like a lot more doors. 100% more doors. Yes, that's what puts people off. Green tea, the nasty tea of the cheap, not proper green tea. Fair. It's because we have nothing but processed food and drinks here. That's the problem. Everything's processed. Everything has some kind of additive. Everything has some kind of... I'm with you. Wheels on an engine/motor. Bearings on skateboards, fidget spinners. Are you looking this up? Or are you just like saying this? You can have all the examples in the world. It will not change. Shout out to Martin. What's going on, Martin? Glad to see you here on a Thursday. Says, I missed the beginning to the live. What are we talking about tonight? Dude, let me tell you something. So we started the night off talking about Bash at the Beach, how it killed WCW, how Vince Russo and Hulk Hogan, their little beef there, their pettiness, led to the demise of WCW. And now we're talking about if there's more wheels or doors in the world. Yeah, you might have missed a lot, dude. You can always check out the replay in the archives after the stream ends, but you caught us right in the middle of a debate. I missed a lot. Wheels. Cute says, we call the trunk the boot in the UK. Oh, hey, I didn't even know. You're from the UK. Dude, I'm telling you, it's awesome to see so many people from different locations. Colin from Canada, Kevin from New York, and now from the UK. That's awesome, dude. I love it. That's awesome. That's why I always thought this was an awesome opportunity to not only be able to talk about like my passion in pro wrestling, but to connect with people all around the world. That's awesome. Sanford 5 Wheels is winning, Jose. I know. I know, but it's because people aren't listening to the debate, right? They're seeing the poll and they're like, you know what? I'm just going to push Wheels because it makes sense. And it does. It does make sense. We talked about the semis, the 18 wheelers. We talked about how cars have 4 wheels. But the doors, take into consideration the hotels, stadiums, large buildings, back doors. Like, dude, doors for everything. Dude, I Googled it. I mean, yeah, the internet's not 100% honest. I'll give you that. But it literally said, an estimation says there are more doors than wheels. 57%. Wow. I want to see that number go up. I want to see us more votes in that one. I will literally have a TED Talk presentation that there's more wheels in this world than doors. You could, but you're not going to sway me, dude. Like I'm sticking to it. On team door. 53 to 47 is not that big of a margin either. Like that's a couple of votes away from a doors lead. 15 votes in. You know what? Screw it. We're going to give out more gifts. Why not? We're going to give another set of memberships here out. Because I'm in a good mood. We're having a great talk about doors and wheels. Yeah! We got 5 memberships. And they're at random. Keep that in mind. I don't choose who they are. See, look at that. We're at a 50-50 rate. For doors versus wheels. What about trains? He said there's a butt ton of wheels there. Are there not doors on a train? Are there not? Or Disneyland with roller coasters. Dude, there's doors. Yeah! There's doors on the roller coasters. There's doors to the stores, the restrooms, rollerblading. Let it go. $58, no, 56%. It's still relatively close, dude. Every house or building in the world has many doors in it, as well as the cupboards, closets in those houses and buildings, all the cars and vehicles with doors as well as... That's what I'm saying. But he's taking into account like other things that have wheels. Like he said Legos. He said like we're saying cards. What about offices with conference rooms with chairs? They have wheels. They do. You're not going to change my opinion. All you're going to do... Dude, look at the chat. I mean, look at the poll. Oh, it moved back. For a second there, I thought doors had the win. You're not going to change my mind, though. All you can do is help sway the public opinion. And people are going for wheels because I think it does make logical sense. But when you really think about it, really take a second to think about it, it's doors. I don't know what else to tell you. There are so many doors. And think about it this way. I hate to bring it up, but there's accidents with cars and all the other vehicles that are now totaled. Think about the when a tire blows up, you just lost it. You just lost a wheel right there. Unless you're gonna count like the rim and the hubcat as wheels. But it's like, I don't know. You're not gonna change my mind. 59%, 22 votes in, 59% say wheels. Come on, guys. You have to be looking this up. I refuse to believe that you have all of these lined up already as responses. There's a hell of a lot of wheels in the world, but not as many doors. It's obvious. He's trolling. He's doing this just to get under my skin. You lost the tire, but not the wheel/steering wheel. He's doing this to get under my skin, chat. You don't actually believe that. You're just trying to antagonize. I don't buy it. I see right through the lies. No, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Come on. There's more doors. I'm willing to die on that hill. Think about how many doors are in this house. And you're going to argue the chairs have more wheels. But I'm telling you, if you take into account cupboards or like closets, you're lucky I don't got a closet door. When we bought this house, the closet didn't have a door. It was just bare. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pop up some curtains. It doesn't bother me. But I digress. If I had doors. But then again, you would make the argument that the sliding doors have wheels. Dude, we're at 50-50. 50-50 for wheels versus doors. 26 votes are in. Can we get it over? And it's not for those people who are tuning in and out of the stream, I know the title of it and the thumbnails say WCW Bash at the Beach. If you're just joining us, make sure you check out the archive and check the replay out. We have that discussion. We talk about that story. We talk about the demise of WCW. But we have now divulged into the debate of doors versus wheels. And look at that. 54% Jefe have said doors. 54%. I'm about to close it down right now. Dude, there's wheels on my closet doors. I know. You already said that. But it doesn't change the fact that it's still a door. 55% are saying doors. What number? I'm going to let you decide, Sanfran 5. Pick a number for when to close the voting. Because I am curious to see what's the definitive answer. There's far more chairs without wheels than with. That's a good point. You're only talking about office chairs. But not every chair has wheels on it. 30 votes are in. Give me a number, Sanfran. Don't let Jose brainwash you guys. It's not even brainwashing. It's literally logic. I'm not, and it's like, I'm not brainwashing anybody. I'm opening the eyes of the public. Because there's people out there who rely on the false narratives that are provided to them. We're just trying to open their eyes. We're trying to make them see the truth. And the fact that there are many doors than wheels. Because here's the thing. Wheels essentially will take you to places that you may not want to even go. It might be out of your control. I could sit in the chair. I can back up a little bit and I start rolling backwards. I don't want to go backwards. I want to move forward. How do I move forward? I open up a door. That door of opportunity, the doors that lie ahead of me, will show me the way. Wheels will wheel me down a path I don't want to go to. But it's my decision to open that door. And I'm choosing right now to tell the public, to tell the people of the J area and of YouTube that there are more doors than there are wheels. It just makes sense to me. And I'm sure I have enough faith in the people to believe that there are far more doors than wheels. Sanfran5 says, do a voting poll on the community tab and we'll look back on next stream. Valid. Okay. I'll do that. I'll have it in the community tab. Not if you get Heelys on your shoe. You did not just bring up Heelys. That's a low. You literally had to bring up the Heelys, the shoes that had wheels on them. That's crazy. That's crazy, actually. What about like dollhouses and miniature homes and these small model, townhomes and stuff like that that have doors? They have doors on them. Don't do this to me. For me personally, who invented the wheel and the door? Watch it be the same guy. I don't think it is. But can you imagine? Who invented the door? It is not known who invented the door, but the first doors are thought to have been created in ancient Egypt. There you go. Think about that. What was created first, the door or the wheel? This says ancient Egypt. Who invented the wheel? The exact origins of the wheel are uncertain, but it was likely invented independently in multiple places. Well, we don't really get anybody, but I'm not going to change my mind. Either way, them Barbies have the Corvette with wheels. Good Lord. He doesn't quit. If there's one thing I can give you credit for, it's for being consistent. I had the Mystery Machine. Same. Dude, the Mystery Machine? Same. Scooby-Doo was my jam. Or kids' motorized cars. Do the cars not have doors? They just hop in for safety reasons. Wait, what? They just hop in for safety reasons. Or kids' motorized cars. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. 31 votes, and we're at 58%. We're at 58% for the doors. But after the stream, I'm going to put up that community tab poll. Because I do want to see. And I'm willing to bet you that people are going to say doors. I mean, look, we already have 31 votes in 17 minutes. And there was a time there that it was winning. But the good people of the J area, they saw the error of their ways, and I'm sure everyone kind of slid over to the doors. But a car only has 4 doors and at least 5 wheels. At least. Yes, this is true. But I still think the buildings, hotels, arenas, stadiums, those are the real MVPs because they have a lot of doors. Muhammad says, does airplanes have wheels as well? Helicopters and jets. I mean, they kind of have to because of the landing mechanisms. They do have to have wheels. Beyblades is wheels. Shut up, dude. How does a helicopter spin? Wheels. It's a propeller. Airplane engine. Wheels. Thanks, Muhammad. I acknowledge you. Is it me or are your thumbs up and your acknowledging emoji 2 different shades? One was out in the sun too long or what? Dude, 58%. The numbers don't lie and they spell disaster for you. Dude, I love that promo. The Steiner Math promo. The boot or trunk could be considered a door, though on a car. Thank you. You know what? I'm going to read Steiner Math. And I want to know what you guys think. Do windows count like a door if I can sneak in and out? Do they count? Because then you have to define what's a door. A door is an opening into another place. And with Gab's logic, a window could be considered a door? Maybe? Have you guys ever heard the Steiner Math promo? because that's one of my favorite promos of all time. Scott Steiner on the road to TNA Sacrifice had a triple threat match against Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe, a triple threat match for the TNA World Championship. And he talks about the odds of him winning this match. They ask him his thoughts about the possibility of him winning this matchup. Gab says meaning there are more doors, because that's true. There are more doors. And the numbers here, we're talking about numbers. I wanted to say this promo because I think it's one of the best. With trapdoors, you need wheels to open it. Do you? Because a trapdoor could have hinges. A trapdoor needs hinges. That's not a wheel. I don't think so. In the meantime, while we go ahead and tally up the votes and we have more people in the chat, I'm going to share a great poem by the name of Scott Steiner called Steiner Math. He says, quote, "You know, they say all men are created equal. But you look at me and you look at Samoa Joe and you can see that statement is not true. See, normally, if you go one-on-one with another wrestler, you got a 50-50 chance of winning. But I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal. So you got a 25% chance at best to beat me. And then you add Kurt Angle to the mix. Your chances of winning drastic go down. See, the three-way at Sacrifice, you got a 33 and a third chance of winning, but I got a 66 and two-thirds chance of winning because Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me, and he's not even going to try. So Samoa Joe, you take your 33 and a third chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 and a third chance of winning at Sacrifice. But then you take my 75% chance of winning if we was to go one-on-one, and then add 66 and two-thirds% chance of winning. I got 141 and two-thirds% chance of winning at Sacrifice. See, Joe, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at Sacrifice. Sanford and 5 says, what about tire shops? How do you get inside the tire shop? There are doors. I will give you, there are more doors. But what about a place that sells doors? You're going to tell me there's not a place that sells doors? I'm pretty sure you can have a door store. And think about that. Doors are mentioned in the Bible, in the description of heaven. Or is it rooms? Rooms have doors either way. Dude, you gotta get into point A from point B. Doors. Unless they took it off, but the point is there's more doors. I think we might have settled at 31 votes here. It's been like that for maybe about 5 minutes now. 32 votes. Just as I said, 32 votes. 59% are going for doors. Buddy, I think you might be cooked here. I'm a man of my word. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat. Tire shops are more common. There are so many doors. You're going to tell me that there's not door shops. Yes, there are probably more tire shops because we need to have them. PW101, what do you think about the mass releases? And you can go both ways too, PW101. Because AEW and WWE both have the releases. I think in the case of both companies are good. I mean, yeah, it sucks to see people get, laid off and they're losing their opportunity there. But I look at first the WWE. You have individuals like the Authors of Pain. You have others like Isla Dawn, Blair Davenport, the Good Brothers. Like, these guys weren't really being used on TV that much. Very little to no exposure. I don't think people would have, I hate to say it, but if they weren't announced, I'm pretty sure people wouldn't have noticed for some of them. If you're not going to use them and maximize their potential and their minutes, let them go. Have them go work somewhere else that they can actually put forward some good work. I don't think it's fair to some of them to just wither away in the back. Sometimes it's good to leave and maybe come back. Who knows? The door's always open. You hear that, San Fran? The door is always open. So for those people, it might be a blessing in disguise. Give them some exposure, a fresh coat of paint, start over, and just work from there. From AEW, when you have guys like Ricky Starks who wanted to be gone, that works really well from him. Didn't think he was going to be in NXT that quick. Malachi Black and Miro as well. If you're going to be in a spot that's not going to promote you and you're not going to be utilized, then why keep them? Ricky Starks and Phoenix is the perfect example. Why keep them? Release them. Let them do their thing. If you're not going to use them and you're just going to hold them under contract, dude, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? It's just counterproductive. And you know that these guys are going to go to WWE. Like how some of these people might go to AEW. Cedric Alexander is going to go to AEW. He's going to join the Hurt Syndicate because of the Hurt Business. And I love it. I want to see Cedric and the boys back together. The Hurt Syndicate, probably my favorite, group in AEW right now. So it goes both ways. Just like WWE lost a lot of guys to AEW, people like obviously Moxley, Cody, Jericho, the early days. But then later, guys like the Hardys would show up, Adam Copeland, Christian Cage. The momentum swings. That's when you got guys like Cody, Jade Cargill, Ethan Page, Lexus, and now Ricky Starks. It goes both ways. PW101, you on point, bro. As always, we pretty much agree the same. I just look at it from a business standpoint. Like, if I'm a wrestler, yeah, I want to be with WWE, but if they're not utilizing me and I'm basically wasting away, maybe it is time for a change of scenery. Gab says, San Fran, you pre-ordered the new 2K25 game? Good question. Didn't Chuck Palumbo have his own tire shop place as well as DDP? I don't know about DDP, but the Chuck Palumbo one does make sense. He's a big chopper guy. San Fran says, I have not pre-ordered it yet, but I will sometime this month. I'm right with you because we both will be playing that. PW101, Good Brothers, definitely showing up in AEW with all the Bullet Club cats they have over there. If not AEW, more likely TNA, but I think AEW, it just makes sense. Kenny, the Bucks, like you said, Bullet Club is all over AEW. San Fran 5 says more likely we'll be streaming it when it comes. Yeah, and that makes sense. You know what edition I went with. Better believe it. Just making sure here. We got a little bit of a lag. I'm debating about it, man. Like, the standard edition's fine, but I'm a big Undertaker guy. But that Bloodline edition looks nice, man. It looks really nice. Having the whole family there, that's fire. I probably will go with the Bloodline edition. I have to consult with San Fran 5, being that we share the game essentially. But I'm leaning more towards the Bloodline edition. It just depends, because correct me if I'm wrong, San Fran, but which one is only digital? Is it the Undertaker, or is it the Undertaker and Bloodline? Because I'm a fan of having the physical copy. I like having a copy of the game. I've always been more of a physical copy, a tangible, something I can hold on to, something I can kind of place on my shelf over here. So I don't remember if the Bloodline edition is only digital or if we can get a copy of that. Do you know and notice that you're cutting off the stream? Yeah, I have feedback here that'll say good or bad in the connection, and it cuts in and out of poor. It says good connection now, though. PW1, I'm an Undertaker guy too. It was a hard toss up, but when it was in the moment, I had to acknowledge the GOAT. It's tough, man. It is tough. Gav says no issue. Awesome. San Fran 5 says, I wanted to get the Bloodline or Undertaker edition, but both are digital, and I like collecting physical copies. Damn. Because we like having the tangible stuff, and both are... oh, man. And there's nothing against the standard edition. It's cool, too. But it's just like the standard edition in comparison to the Bloodline and Undertaker editions, it pales in comparison. Again, nothing against it. Like last year's edition, you had the option of getting the Cody one, the Bianca and Rhea Ripley one, or the Legends of WrestleMania one. I had nothing against the other ones, but I'm a Cody guy. It was on the way to WrestleMania 40, so I just went with the standard edition. But the other covers were cool too. I wanted to get the WrestleMania one, but it was digital, and I like having the physical copy. But okay, again, I'm not the biggest gamer. San Fran 5, that's his department. When it comes to that, let's say we purchase digital. Is it only going to be on one account? It probably would be, right? Like it wouldn't be able to be on my account versus yours. PW101 says, do you think the island going to be any good? I hope so. It's something unique. It's something that takes inspiration from NBA 2K. It's their first time trying it. Hopefully it's good. I think I heard somewhere it was like up to 50 players at once on the island. It's an open world, so that's cool. If it doesn't work, they'll drop it, but who knows? I would like to think that they're going to promote this to the point where it should succeed, because why would you want to implement some change and have it not work? I hope it does. San Fran 5 says, looks cool and I want to do that. Yeah, it's something different. It is something different, so I'm down with that. We're going to go on stream here for maybe another 15 minutes. Just because the connection has been going in and out, and I don't want to risk the stream, getting to a bad place in terms of the connection. Right now, it looks like we're in a good spot for the connection-wise. San Fran 5 says, more likely we'll be making my own character Goofy. Yeah, that sounds on brand for you. Like I said, it looks like we're going to be rocking with the 32 votes. We haven't had another vote in yet. So for today only, San Fran, it looks like we're going to be saying that there's more doors. San Fran gaslight Blake Petson. About to be a straight menu on the island. Imagine. Street Fighter 6 did it, and it didn't hear anything bad. Okay. Yeah, I mean, because the idea of an open world is very enticing. It opens up possibilities. It's more engaging. So I would hope it does well. But I mean, then again, I'm not a huge gamer. I've always said that when it comes to gaming, I pretty much just play the sport games. NBA, Madden, WWE 2K. But I do play Mortal Kombat. Fan of Mortal Kombat as well. But that's not my department. That's San Fran 5. He's the one that has all the gaming. He even has his own channel. Has the occasional stream. If you'd like to check that out, the link to his channel, I can put that in the description. But it's also on the homepage, my homepage for my channel. It's found at the very bottom. San Fran 5 is his channel. Has the occasional stream. If you're interested in that, go ahead and give him a look. Go ahead and subscribe. Check him out. But that's going to be, what, March? Was it March 10th or 14th? I don't remember, but it was like one of those days. The 10th or the 14th of March, 2K comes out. And I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, San Fran 5 is going to be probably streaming it. I'm probably going to stream it as well. Just because it's cool. I'm looking forward to the showcase for the Bloodline. I'll be doing that. Muhammad says, quick question. Go for it. PW says, yeah, bro, link it up. I'll drop a sub. You my boy. Build a community. Absolutely. I love it too, man. The community that we build here, it's crazy to think that, like, it wasn't overnight, obviously. But it's crazy to think we never really knew each other. right? Like over time, we've kind of all found each other. And I think that's just an awesome thing. I'm gonna drop the link here. Much appreciated. Yeah, I had to stop my last stream since Halo kept crashing. Yeah, dude, it's a shame. You've been having issues there with your streams because it's been crashing on you. The connection hasn't been the best. Hopefully, we're able to remedy that and not have to worry about it. Other editions get a week early access. Yeah, that's why I'm debating about it, dude. Muhammad asked, muffins or donuts, and have you heard the demolition? Oh yeah, I've heard about Demolition. They signed their Legends contract. That's cool. I think we're going to be expecting them in the Hall of Fame fairly soon. That's usually what that means, is they're going to go in the Hall of Fame. And as they should. I mean, one of the best tag teams of the Golden Era. For the longest time, had the longest reigning tag titles before the New Day took them. But that's awesome. Muffins or donuts? Oh, that's tough. Because I'm a fan of both. I'd probably lean towards muffins, though. Nothing against donuts. I love a good donut. But I think it's because I feel less guilty. If I eat a muffin, I feel at least somewhat better about myself. If I eat a donut, I don't know, man. So I just updated the description. His link is going to be in there as well, if you want to check that out. But it could go either way. It just depends on the mood, I suppose. And who is the next Hall of Fame inductees for this Hall of Fame? Well, we know Triple H is in. We know he's in. I think Demolition goes in, for sure. I think Victoria is going to go in. I think Victoria, she recently signed a Legends contract, made an appearance on an episode of SmackDown. I think she goes in. I don't know about anybody else. If you ask me, I think the celebrity should be Cyndi Lauper. I have been saying it for years. Even before this channel was a thing, Cyndi Lauper needs to go in the Hall of Fame because of her inclusion, because of her influence in the rock and wrestling connection. The early years of MTV and the WWE, WrestleMania, literally in 1985, a big proponent of that. I think so. I think she has to go in the Hall of Fame for sure. Sanfran 5 says donuts. Muhammad says muffins. I agree. Muhammad says by a landslide. Thank you. Theory. Would Hassan have been a better champ than Mahal? I don't know. That's a really good question. I think he would have been a... Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say yes for this reason. It's a business at the end of the day. The heel's job is to get heat and to transfer that to the babyface. Muhammad Hassan would have been a big heel. I mean, he already was, but as a world champion, the business that could have been done with Muhammad Hassan as champion, and then maybe dropping to it like a Batista, for example. I say yes. He would have been better. Is a fan considered a wheel? It does spin. I don't think so, though. Because for me, a wheel has to be round. And a fan has, like, like extensions. I don't think it's considered. I don't think it's considered one. Gab says, I say conchas. Okay, hey. We didn't say conchas. We didn't say that. If we said conchas, I love a good concha. Some pan dulce? Oh, man. If you throw in a concha, for me, it'll go concha, muffin, then donut. WWE spinner belt? Doesn't count. Yeah, I'll give you that one because it's like attached to a circular thing. So I might give you that one. PW 101. I absolutely loved Hassan. It sucks how he got done. Dude, I was 7 years old when Muhammad Hassan was in the WWE. And I remember watching that. Muhammad says, I wish Hassan would have come back to the world of wrestling. He would have gotten repackaged. Not under that gimmick. But I remember I was 7 years old watching it and thinking like, whoa, this is crazy. But I was into it. I was into like the edginess and pushing the envelope when it comes to that heat. And he got good heat. I mean, this guy was getting booed all the time. All the time. His feud with The Undertaker, I still remember when he did the attack with like the piano wire and the masked men, and it happened to be the same day as the London attacks. It's crazy. It's crazy. If he would have came back, he would have had to do a different gimmick. But I believe he's a school principal now, or he works in education. I think he might be a principal, but I know he's in education. I've read and heard interviews about that. But I was a fan as well. Him and Davari, Sean Davari, shout out to him as well. Muhammad says he looks Arabic. I believe he's from Canada. I think he's like Italian. Is he not? He was born in Syracuse, New York. I had to sneeze there for a second. I want to look into it though. You might see a white light over here because I have the screen. He was born in Syracuse. He's of Italian descent. So not Canadian? He's Italian. Interesting. Thank you, Muhammad. Appreciate that. I think that might be the first time I've ever sneezed on stream. Yeah, I managed to catch the thank you, Gabs. Appreciate that. And I managed to capture that. I was able to press mute. I didn't want you guys to hear me sneeze. But I appreciate the blessings. Thank you so much. Thank you. And it was in one. Usually I sneeze in pairs. I usually sneeze. San Fran's all caps. He says, bless you. Thank you. I usually sneeze in pairs, so it was weird to only get one. Muhammad says a lot of sickness going around. Yeah. Please don't sneeze around Vince. That's funny. That's funny. He had so many weird... Oh, that's a no. I'm writing that down. I'm not going to do it now because we're going to close the stream pretty soon. But I'm going to do another stream on like the many different things that Vince was not a fan of. Vince was so weird about not liking certain things. So I'm going to write that down for a future idea. Sanford 5 says, yeah, I'm sick to my stomach that we all know there's more wheels in the world. Come on now. Come on now. Hopefully you feel better because there are more doors. And the voting clearly shows that. 58%. 58%. Enough said. This is great. I'm going to start closing it down, guys. If you guys want to get some last second comments in the chat, go ahead and drop them. But I'm going to go ahead and do the outro. It was a fun night, man. We talked about the Bash at the Beach 2000 WCW from July 9th of 2000. The ultimate demise of World Championship Wrestling and why Vince Russo and Hulk Hogan simply are not a good match. We had a great discussion about doors and wheels, something I would have never envisioned upon placing Go Live on today's stream. Had a good conversation here with some of our friends. Big shout out to everybody that showed up in the chat. As always, it's fun, and I love to see you guys. You guys are the reason why I keep coming back. There was a period in time with these streams, or rather with this channel, that I was producing a lot of excess videos, but now I'm finding myself doing more streams. And it's just so rewarding to see the participation and to see you guys, come out and just have these discussions with me. I could talk about whatever I want when it comes to pro wrestling, but to see your guys' input also helps direct where we go with these streams. So without you guys, this wouldn't be as much fun. It wouldn't be fun without you guys, for that matter. Muhammad says, correct me if I'm wrong. I heard that there is a new virus going around. Yeah, apparently, I forgot. I think I started with an N. There's some kind of virus going around. Hopefully, it's not too serious. Not like the last one. PW1 says apparently he was a fan of, yeah, on defecating on people. Dude, that's crazy. We'll get into those. We might do a dark side of Vince for one of these streams. Muhammad says, please be careful and please be mindful. Likewise. Likewise. But as I was saying, hey, always a fun time with you guys on these streams, talking about pro wrestling, talking about life at this point, and that's something I kind of want to do more of. We reserve a lot of time for pro wrestling, and believe me, I'll never get tired of it. But to share like these segments of the stream where we're discussing about other stuff, I mean, that's awesome. It's cool. It's relaxing. It's a way to unwind. And I was just talking about this with my sister, where I feel like early on I was kind of really by the book, kind of stiff. I mean, Gabs referred to me as like Ernie Johnson at one point, which I take as a compliment greatly. But the more I do these lives, I feel like the less uptight I can be. I kind of let loose, kind of talk to you guys and have my own personality with it. And I'm hoping it translates with some of the other videos because it really is just, in a word, it's fun. And that's what it should feel like. It should feel like fun. It shouldn't feel like a task. It's become more than a hobby. It's a passion project. It's a great opportunity to connect with you guys on different levels. So I got to thank you for that. Sanford 5 says, how do clocks move? Wheels. Let it go. It's okay. Take the L. Take the L, my friend. That's all it is. Muhammad says, please take care of yourself. Likewise. It moves when it flies. It really does. It really does. I see we got 21 people in the stream though. And it keeps fluctuating. But again, you don't want to have too much of a good thing, right? We got to leave you coming for more. Gab says, that is a compliment. Ernie is cool. He is. No, believe me, I took it as a compliment. I've always said that, during this endeavor, Rich Eisen for the NFL, Ernie Johnson for the NBA. And I think it would be a tremendous opportunity to be among the discussion of being that for WWE or for pro wrestling. Ernie Johnson is a legend in the broadcasting business, specifically with the NBA. Rich Eisen for the NFL. Those are the two that I take inspiration from. That's what I want to bring to the table for pro wrestling, namely for this. I'm not saying I'm going to go big time and go to a broadcasting job. I would love to. That was the name of the game when I, went to get my degree. But that wasn't, in the cards. So it's like, okay, if those doors weren't going to be open for me, I'm going to make my own door. Shout out to San Fran 5. And so we're here. So the Ernie Johnson comment, dude, that's a huge compliment. There were two just great compliments that I received on these streams. Go right ahead, Muhammad. Go ahead. Two of the best compliments I've received on stream were the Ernie Johnson one, and then it's gonna kill me. I think it was Alex or Hector. Someone had said they gave me the compliment of like, "Oh, you're a good storyteller." The storytelling and the Ernie Johnson compliments are the two of my favorites. I appreciate all the praise and the love that you guys send. I really do. But those two mean a lot to me because I love storytelling because of the way it makes me feel, because of the way I can become invested in something. Because of the way you may not remember what people say to you, but you can remember how you felt when they said it. And so storytelling for me is so big. I love movies, storytelling. Wrestling, storytelling. Ernie Johnson, I already talked about it. You guys know I'm a big fan. Maybe a little bit obsessed with it. Muhammad says, when is the NBA All-Star starts? So tomorrow, or I guess Friday, whenever you guys are in the time zones, Friday evening, or again, I guess it depends on when you guys are, where you guys are at. Because I know for us here in North America, because I can't speak for everyone around the world, the NBA All-Star game is on Sunday. I don't know. It's like 7 o'clock our time, I believe. Or maybe 6 o'clock. But on Sunday is the NBA All-Star game. Saturday is the competitions, your three-point shootout, your dunk contest, your skills challenge. Friday is going to be the celebrity game. and the Rising Stars Challenge. So like your rookies and sophomores. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It starts Friday. That's when the festivities start. Sanford 5 says, I miss Halo multiplayer. Halo was fun. I can't speak on it. Not a gamer. Sorry, Jefe. He's the one that has the gaming channel. But for that being said, he's the gaming channel. Whoa, gaming channel. This is the pro wrestling channel. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys. Appreciate you, as always, for joining us on another live stream. Another Thursday live stream. We're going to go ahead. Yeah, Bailey is going to be there. I should mention that. Good shout out, Muhammad. Bailey is going to be in the celebrity game on Friday. Good call. Good call. I almost forgot to mention that. Should be fun. But again, we're going to go ahead and close it out, guys. As always, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been really fun. And I appreciate you guys again consistently showing up, showing the love, showing the support. This channel wouldn't be anything without you guys. The consistency, the generosity, and the love that you've sent. I will never get tired of thanking you for that. Our time here on this earth is very limited. So the time that I have, I choose to express my gratitude, my appreciation, and my love for the ones that I care for. And that's something I'll always do. I wear my heart on my sleeve. If I'm feeling a type of way, you're going to know it. So, can't appreciate you guys enough. With that being said, thank you for joining us on today's stream, talking about Bash at the Beach and Doors versus Wheels. We'll have that in the community tab later. But with that being said, everyone, have a great night. Have a great morning. Enjoy your weekend. And we'll see you guys back on Sunday for another J Area live stream. Everyone be safe. Be careful. And always stay cool. Appreciate you guys. Everyone take care. Gab says fun night tonight. Same time tomorrow. Not tomorrow. I'll see you guys on Sunday. On Sunday. I know usually we do Fridays, but we're going to go ahead on Sunday. I'll catch you guys Sunday. Everyone be safe. Be careful. Sunday. I'll see you then. Hope to see you all there. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much.